And our last guest for this morning live, one of our colleagues at the World Council of Churches, Mrs. Carla Khijoyan, a Lebanese Armenian expert in peace building and interreligious dialogue as well. Program executive at the World Council of Churches for the Middle East, based in Geneva as well, born in Beirut during the Civil War. She studied at St. Joseph University in Beirut and the University of Geneva Religion and Global Governance, and has worked extensively in Iraq, in Palestine, and on programs supporting youth, minorities mostly, and women as well. Thank you so much for your time with us here, Carla. We know that you are so very busy, as you are one of the key members of the organizing committee of this conference. Thank you for what you have offered to the world, to the Armenian communities, and globally. Shall we go directly on information about Armenians and displaced population in Artsakh, Carla? Are you able to share with us more information about like the 120,000 or more people of Artsakh today? What does their daily life look like? How is the church? How are the faith communities are actually engaged, supporting them? If you're able to share some updated information on that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Xantia, to you as well for accompanying this whole process and important conference, because media is important, and without media coverage, we can do very important work that will only stay in darkness and not in light. So 120,000 Armenians, actually, they had to leave their country, their homeland, in less than 3 days. Until today, they are refugees in Armenia. Armenia already has its own economic challenges, social challenges. So in addition, we have all these people who arrived suddenly without houses, children who need to go to school again and find spaces in the local schools to accommodate them. Find health facilities. Most of them arrived after a long period of blockade where they had to undergo very difficult health challenges, malnutrition. So the hospitals in Armenia had to also accommodate them, find ways to adapt, to respond to this need. It was not easy, but the church was on the front line, actually. The Armenian church, different humanitarian organizations, international, including Swiss, they were all there within the community trying to facilitate and find means and ways for these people. However, all this is temporarily. There are still, I mean, it's been already since 2023, so 2 years now that these people are living in Armenia with the hope of going back home. So the hope, the dream of finding back their own homes, their own schools, their roads, their farms is still there. And we do hope that with the help of the international community, the right to return will be really acknowledged, confirmed, and they will find means for them to return in safety and security.
And this is our follow-up question, Carla. We have discussed it a lot during the sessions on international law, the right to return. This is like a basic principle of international law. Are there international norms or legal instruments supporting right now the return to Artsakh? What kind of actions do we know so far in terms of like the diplomatic activities, the diplomatic landscape globally? And is there a path for peaceful advocacy? What is it that you see from your own knowledge and your own understanding as an expert? What are we able to share with our audience in connection with that?
Yes, there is the international framework for the people to return. The right to return is acknowledged internationally within international conventions. However, practically, theoretically, it is still not possible because it demands a political will from Azerbaijan to open the borders and to secure the return of these people back home, which we do not have yet. So international law is there, human rights is there, it's still guaranteed. However, who is going to apply this international law? And again, we come to the issue of power. Azerbaijan is a powerful country economically. Some international powers, they need Azerbaijan strategically for the region in Caucasus, including the Middle East. And therefore, they are still not imposing the application of these international norms. But we hope that it will come because truth must prevail and justice must prevail. So the framework is there. There is a lot of international lobbying being done, and we are hoping that through advocacy, the states will be more active in putting pressure on Azerbaijan to implement the right of these people to return to their own homeland, historic homeland. Advocacy there is always a path to peace, always. On the political level, it's difficult today, unfortunately. The roads are blocked. But the political way is not the only way towards peace. We have faith-based organizations, the spiritual leadership, civil society, young people who all can be very active. A lot of work is being done, but we cannot already speak about peace and reconciliation without justice. So before we even enter into this conversation about the future, possible future for both Armenians and Azerbaijanis in the region, we need first to acknowledge what happened. There needs to be the right of the people, it needs to be restored, and then we can start talking about peace and next steps towards the future.
Thank you, Carla. We focus specifically during the conference, and this is actually what the conference is all about, on the historical, cultural, religious monuments, the Armenian heritage. What is currently the state of Artsakh religious monuments? Are they accessible at this stage from anyone? Is there any kind of monitoring mechanism, documentation? What do we actually know about the state of the monuments?
Yeah, there are different narratives about the states. Unfortunately, we are not able to access them.
Yes.
UNESCO itself, that has the mandate to protect, is not able to access them. They did not yet. There was a mission, a delegation that was supposed to go and do some kind of mapping. Where are these churches remaining? What kind of cultural heritage do we still have? But this mission did not take place because Azerbaijan needs first to open the doors for such missions to enter. So we are hoping, this is very important, we are asking Azerbaijan to be honest and transparent. If they are saying that they are also working towards human rights, then they need to collaborate with international bodies, with UN agencies to open the door so that specific international missions are able to access the land, do a mapping, check the status of these churches. Unfortunately, what we see from different sources is that a lot of churches have disappeared. There is real erasure of some cultural and religious buildings that are 2,000 or years old. So accountability is important from the international community on Azerbaijan, and the need to have specific missions to protect those monuments is very important at this point.
Do you see a specific role, Carla, for the Armenian diaspora and how they can actually impact and complement in so many different ways the work of international organizations? You're a very good case and role model yourself. Ani Gazaryan from our organization as well. We have like very visible, I would say, ways of working towards justice, but what are you able to share on that?
Absolutely. The Armenian diaspora has always been there with Armenia within the past few decades of their history. The Armenian diaspora has always provided support for the Armenian people in whatever challenges they were going through. And we are still one people. So we have Armenians in Armenia, Armenians outside Armenia, but we are one Armenia, one Armenian people, and one Armenian church. And all of us together are working. A lot of Armenians in the United States, in Europe, in the Middle East itself are working to support these processes, whether politically, socially, humanitarian, on the humanitarian level, and this work will continue. But we need to always remind ourselves that we are one people. We have survived through history to so many things. There was the Armenian Empire in the past 2,000 years ago. Today we have a small state called Armenia that is still there, and we have Armenian communities everywhere in the world. We have our churches that are very active on different levels, and we continue this journey together, knowing that Armenians will remain, our identity will remain. Borders will change, but our identity will not change.
And allow me a more personal question, Carla, to conclude with this. On a spiritual level, how do you make sense? How do you navigate through all of the suffering, the pain, the trauma, the displacement, the challenges like for cultural erasure and everything? What are you able to share with the people that are following, especially with the younger people that are following? How does this history of genocide and forced removal, the removal of your people, your nation, has influenced your work, your character, your identity, everything that you do on a daily basis? We are able to see that as we work very close to you, but What are you able to share with the people?
Well, let me be very honest.
Please.
As Armenians, as soon as we are born, the first story they tell us is the story of the genocide. It's the first, before you even talk or speak or know anything or even know how to walk, we know the story of the Armenian genocide, of our grandfathers, how they were martyred, how they were killed, massacred, how we had to leave. This is why I am born in Lebanon, let's say, and not in Cilicia, where my grandparents come from. So we grow up with these stories also in our church tradition. We are a church that has a lot of martyrs. Since Saint Gregory the Illuminator, 301, he was the one who brought Christianity to the land, and he had to suffer. So we have a lot of stories of suffering related to our identity, and we believe that these stories, this was the price to pay for us to remain Armenian. It's a very heavy price, but it's part of our identity. However, as a young person, sometimes I get upset saying we cannot remain with this image of victims, like we are always victims, they had to kill us, we had to suffer. Resilience is important. However, it's also important for us to change our view on what is happening. So
yes.
Armenians today, yes, we will remain, we are resilient, we will be born again. However, we can also be active, proactive, and change and have different discourse, different narrative, and work differently towards our future and stop viewing ourselves only as victims. We are the survivors of the Armenian genocide. My child is a survivor of the Armenian genocide. This is part of our own identity. It's in our ADN now. It's in our blood. So we will keep this very preciously. But together with this, we will also be strong, powerful leader in the global world. We don't always have to follow. We can also lead. It's not about numbers. It's not about like we are minority in the Middle East. No, we are here. We have our role. We have a lot to give. We have given a lot, and we will continue.
Thank you, Carla. Our best wishes as you continue, and we are always here to support your work and cover from a journalistic perspective.
Thank you very much. Thank you.